And so we are back with another chapter, another week of one of our favorite series of all time. And I'm talking about Katekyo Hitman REBORN. And we are now at chapter 121. And also another iconic photo as well, okay? So if we remember from chapter 120, basically it was the showdown. We call it even really a showdown? But more so the fight between Hibari and Xanxus. So as we know, after the fight from chapter 119, I'm going 2 chapters back, Hibari versus Golomoska, knowing that the machine is from military times during the World Wars 2, if you will. And the fact that the Varia bought it off the black market to use, and of course Xanxus was going to use this killing machine to kill a middle schooler, okay, and rightfully, and not even so much rightfully, but get the final ring. Of course, he doesn't know Hibari Kyoya. Mind you, Kyoya managed to defeat Golomoska in 1 strike, and that led to Hibari challenging Xanxus. And so it was Hibari that was going forward to on the offensive to attack Xanxus. Of course, Xanxus was able to get one up on Hibari because he knew that the minute that the Golomoska was, destroyed in some way, that the emergency button that's on this version of the Golomoska will go off, aka the restrainer. Okay, so now it's attacking the entire place, from lasers to bombs to just destroying the schoolyard and even the building. Okay, so yes, Hibari did manage to win the Cloud Ring, but as we all know, villains don't always uphold to their own promises. So knowing that, we have Xanxus in last chapter was just laughing because he's like, at the end of the day, he's going to be the one victorious. Not only that, we come to find out that yes, after Imitsu was shot, okay, by the 9th, come to find out that's not actually the 9th. That's a stand-in figure. That's a double agent, if you will. So the real 9th, Vongola 9th boss, also Xanxus' father, is located in Japan somewhere. So with all of that being said, just before the Golomoska was able to really, destroy especially Chrome, Ken, and Chikusa, because they went to go save Chrome, Suna finally managed to come back just in the nick of time to stop that blast. So now we get into chapter 121, where everybody's just excited, at least on Suna's side, is excited to see Suna. Now he's in his dying will form, and he's ready for battle. So Xanxus is looking at him and is like, oh, so you're finally here. You managed to finally make it at the last minute. Mind you, again, he's the one that's causing all of this mess. He's the one that's the reason of what's happening to the 9th. He's the one that brought this whole mess, continued with the scramble battle, and even though his side lost, he wants to cause more mayhem. Okay, he wants to cause more problems for Suna's side and to make it look like an accident. Okay, that he's not touching anybody. The Golomoska is now going on a berserk rampage. He's not part of it. So he's going to try to make this whole ordeal into an accident for Suna's side to quite literally die off so that he can take the ring. This is not the actual ring. This is the ring for the next big arc. So that's kind of a spoiler in itself. But either way. So while everybody's trying to run, take cover and everything, because Golomoska is just blowing stuff up, is just destroying the entire place. As we know it, we're gonna have to call contractors for this school, and I know Hibari, out of everybody, is going to be the most upset because his school is being destroyed. So as that's happening, all the rockets are now launching and about to drop on Suna. And we have where Xanxus is like, eliminate everything, starting with scum that has not changed. Of course, that's Xanxus' way of like asserting dominance. He looks at everybody else below him. Suna's looking calmly at Golomoska. and this is when he starts going on the attack. So he's evading all the bombs that are being dropped on him. We even have it, even though you can't really tell from the manga, because obviously it's, you know, pictures drawn on paper and everything, and eventually uploaded online for everyone to see and publish in books. If you watch the anime version, Suna is actually flying. So this is the first time since he achieved dying will mode, hyper dying will mode. Yes, we will have where he sprints and dodges out the way, but Suna now has, through his training with Reborn, through this whole scramble battle, has learned how to maneuver in air. So not only can he maneuver on land, but now he can go airborne. So while he's flying and dodging the attacks from Golem Mosca, now he's getting close to it. Okay, and he managed to rip off an arm. Like, there was, like, the way they were explaining the chapter, Suna moved so fast, but by the time he got to Golem Mosca, everybody's just like, what technique did he just use to accomplish that? All credits to Reborn. Reborn really put Suna through the ringer, but it was worth it. So while that's happening, I never remembered, and I'm being so serious, I never remembered Suna trash talking. I know Suna can have a little smart mouth, he can get scared and all that, but I never remembered Suna ever trash talking his opponents. Okay? In hyper dying will mode. If there are more moments that I cannot remember at all on top of my head, please do tell me in the comment section below. Because what he said, and I had to pause when I had to reread this chapter, I had to pause and I'm like, did Suna really do that? did our shy, intimidated 14-year-old main protagonist just trash talk his opponent? Did he just tell him, like, bro, hey blockhead, I'm your opponent now? He's telling that directly to Golem Mosca, but I'm going to also assume it's indirectly towards Xanxus as well, because obviously Xanxus is the biggest problem there currently right now. So Golem Mosca is scanning Suna and finds Suna to be an immediate threat that needs to be taken out. Out of everybody else, Suna is the biggest danger right there, right then and there. So then after that, I wish it would have shown more, but now we go back to Italy in the underground, where again they were with Imitsu trying to treat his wounds, and of course with the imposter knight. So of course they're talking about how the knight is now in Japan because they said his bunker ship or something moved, and it's located currently in Japan. So we have it where Imitsu is explaining to everyone that more than likely he's actually in Japan observing the entire fight that is going on, and because Xanxus is his son, more than likely he's there to not only observe his son but possibly give him, you know, passage to becoming the next 10th generation head. Okay, so it's more like he's there to root for his son. Of course, we don't know how true that is because we have not seen the knight anywhere, or even Reborn somewhat mentioning or acknowledging his presence at all. But then again, knowing Reborn, he usually keeps things secret until they need to be mentioned later on. So while that is happening, not only that, Mitsu is explaining, not only is the knight there possibly there to, you know, help Xanxus succeed in the scramble battle, also with the inclusion of the Cervello as well as with the machines. Everything is working, as he said, on the behalf of the knight to ensure that Xanxus is the rightful successor after all. And you know, it kind of almost makes sense because despite Suna being a descendant from, you know, of the Von Gola bloodline from the very first Primo, the fact that Xanxus is the literal child of the current boss right now, you would think, okay, he's choosing family over long distance relatives, right? So it only kind of in a way, based on what's being given in the current text, makes sense that Xanxus, despite everything he's doing, it would make sense that he is next, okay? He's the next boss, so whatever is happening, it'll happen old mafia style, right? But And they're thinking, you know, he's pulling all the strings and everything. And this is where Imitsu is like, despite his injuries and they're actually hurting him, you know, because he was shot in the stomach, he has to go to Japan right now. Because remember, at the end of the day, it was Imitsu that sent up the pledge or asked the ninth that Suna be a successor, that he should put up his name to be successor of the Vongola, given again his blood ties to the whole organization, to the family, being a direct descendant of the first, right? So he's the one that mentioned for Suna to be boss, as well as the knight mentioned for his son Xanxus to be boss. So it's two heads clashing for different reasons. So then we have the fake knight who's tied up at that point. Might I add, he in this panel, he looks like Albert Einstein. I don't know why. He kind of looks like Albert Einstein, but just looking like a Katekyo character for some reason. But he's mocking them, telling them that it's too late. By the time you guys get there, everything is too late for that. And it leaves a very ominous feeling for the remaining of the chapter, because what do you mean it's too late? Like, are you saying that Xanxus won? Or are you saying that, like, whatever you're trying to achieve to change the Ninth's mind, you're too late for that? We don't know. So it goes back to the fight with Suna versus Golomoska, Berserk Golomoska. Golomoska again is launching missiles and everything. Suna's dodging all the attacks and all of that stuff, because now he's locked onto his target. His target is Suna. Suna's the more intimate danger target currently on the field. So Suna's dodging beams, he's dodging bombs, like this kid is going in. And then he goes in and then punches through Golomoska, lights up, ignites his fist in flames, and just punches through Golomoska, completely destroying it, right? Shattering it, ripped open the beam that's on its chest, okay? And it lands, and you're like, oh, whoa, Suna, you got it. You beat Golomoska. Now the only thing you gotta really worry about is Xanxus, okay? That's if he decides to actually go on the offensive. But of course, just like how he played Hibari in last chapter, because the Cervelo is there, he's playing around, right? He's playing around, and we have it where he's still kind of smirking, because it's just like, okay, I know he has something up his sleeve. This can't be it. So again, now it's going back between Italy and in Japan. So they're asking the fake knight, what is so funny? Why are you saying that everything is too late? And of course, it would along the lines of like a little threatening, if you know, depending on your answer, will let you live or not let you live. So now this is where in the panel, he's like, hey, you people, do you know that the Mongolia built weapons the military had apparently covered up? The military was the one that covered it up. And of course, once you have money, you can use money as hush money to keep people quiet, right? And that leads to the Golomoska, right? So that means, given the fact the long history of the Vongola was the one that created it. It wasn't the military. The military just said that they did it, but it was really the Vongola. And more likely, the Vongola paid money to the military to say, keep it quiet, that we're the ones that created this deadly machine, and you guys had to take rights for it. Put your name out there so we don't get caught. Okay? And of course, given the fact that it is an old weapon of destruction from war, and it couldn't be really utilized, of course it makes sense that the Varya, who has ties with the Vongola assassination group, is able to get their hands on this, because it was always the Vongolas in the first place. It was just said for outside people that this was created by the military for acts of war, when really it was the Vongola who started it all. Pretty messed up. So, and you know, it goes tying where they're saying like it's a violation of human rights, and And this is where it's based on this panel. This is where it's by far the most messed up, because when the Vongola was creating this, again, it was meant for acts of war. It was meant to destroy life. Nothing more, nothing less, right? But what they failed to tell us when we saw the notes and everything in 2 chapters ago with Lao Merch and Oregano looking through the notes and everything and how it's operated, we find out in chapter 121, the Golem Mosca is powered by using a human being's life. Okay? It's a human being that is powering the Golem Mosca. And it's not like to say, okay, a human is powering the Golem Mosca from a distance, wirelessly or anything. The fact that he said this is violating human rights, human lives' rights. And this is where it comes down to the ending of the chapter, because he's saying that, it harvests from certain special humans, right? And it uses their life energy of the flame as a source of its power. So that means anyone that has hyperdying will, anyone that can use their will fire, anything of that sort, it's pretty self-explanatory. But the fact that it can only use certain life energy, meaning people that can emit their will as flames, are what it draws its strength from. And this is why the fake is laughing so much. This is why Xanxus is smirking so much. And Imitsu is able to put it 2 and 2 together, right? Right? He's saying, yo, we have to go to Japan immediately. We need to stop this ring battle, okay? So Suna, he defeated Golem Mosca and everything, right? Then he goes to ask Xanxus, like, he's about to ask him, what's the purpose of all of this? And something tries to launch at Suna. It's the Golem Mosca. Suna is able to stop it in its tracks, okay? And more likely, the Golem Mosca weighs a ton, right? Then Suna splits the Golem Mosca in half, right? My boy, he splits it in half. Then it's starting to fall apart. And this is where it gets so dark. And I don't think people realize that Katekyo, for all the fun moments it has, for all the light-hearted moments that it has, it can be very dark, right? Imagine you as a 14-year-old boy who has pretty strong abilities, and you're fighting a machine. You're thinking it's just a machine because there's, machinery, no life, nothing of that sort. And you don't know, based on the information that's provided somewhere else in another country, with a man who's pretending to be your predecessor, right, is telling you that this machine feeds off of your flames as life force. Okay? It's basically feeding on your life in order to operate. This thing was created by the same people that's trying to put you in power, and was used for acts of war against humanity, mind you. And that they paid hush money to the military to cover it all up, and for the military to take credit for something that they didn't create. And this same machine, again, is using a real life human being. So you need to tell me this, a 14-year-old defeated the machine and decided to, to put it in its tracks, split it open, and out drops the knight with a big old wound on his chest. Suna and Reborn are shocked. And it ends off right there. This is what Xanxus was prepping up for. Xanxus led his father to his demise. He purposely made it that his father was killed by the next candidate for the Vongola and put a puppet in his place, so nobody will be suspicious that the knight is missing, because there's someone playing his role currently right now, and he purposely caused mayhem back at the base. This is why he allowed, and this was going all the way back to the very first fight with I wouldn't even say the first, no, I believe, yes, it was around the Ryohei and Lambo fight, right? After Lambo lost and he got the ring, and because Suna had to intervene, and he's like, I may not know what really happened to the ninth or anything that's going on in Italy, forcing Imitsu to leave to depart literally that same night, causing Reborn to be on edge, pushing Suna to learn the technique probably faster than he needed to learn it, all because he was setting all of this up behind the scenes without anybody realizing it, that everyone in the barrio knew what was going on. And now the surveiller who has ties to the ninth, and seeing that Suna was the one that basically ended the ninth's life, may just say Xanxus is the next boss come next episode, next chapter, because Suna attacked the current boss. He attacked the head of the Vongola. This is what Xanxus was planning all along, to get everyone roped up into everything, just focus solely on the fights and everything, and then while he's doing that, he's causing mayhem back home, and dragged his father into this mess, put his father in a suit that was slowly killing him, first and foremost, and then on his possibly last bits of life, allowed his opponent, who also has rights, who is a candidate, to land the finishing blow. That's pretty messed up. And you can't say this is lighthearted at all, especially when you take into context that Suna is just 14. He's 13 to 14 years old. And he just literally killed a human being to none of his acknowledgement. Let that sit with you. So yeah, so that's how chapter 121 ended. Pretty sad. Pretty sad, very messed up. And now this is either going to, by next chapter, when I get to reviewing it, it's either we're going to see Suna mentally starting to break. His mentality is going to break because he didn't realize this. We may end up seeing Reborn getting beyond furious, okay? And how Imitsu and all of them is going to deal with it, on top of how everyone else is going to react seeing this. And what does this mean for Suna? Does this mean he loses his right to becoming the 10th Vongola? He's now eliminated from the running race, and now Xanxus is next in line, even though he sacrificed his father to get to this point. Who knows? If you guys already read and or watched Katekyo Hitman REBORN, please no spoilers down below, but do tell me on how you felt when you read this chapter for the first, second, third time, or if you saw the anime version to it. Do tell me your thoughts on it. Guys, the links are in the description box, so you guys go check that out. And I'm Kimi-chan of Anime Legends, and I will see you guys later. Bye!